Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and another cold one, as you can see by all the frost on all the cars. We've got another part exchange beauty to have a quick look at. This is a car we took in part exchange against a 2014-2015 Renault Clio, I believe. And on the surface of it, this car doesn't look like much to behold really, but I think it should be a pretty decent straight little car. It just wants a little bit of TLC, which maybe we'll try and do in this video and kind of show you what the end result is before we shift it off for a trade sale. So we are looking at a 2006 Toyota Yaris on 85,000 miles. Here's the car. So pretty grubby. We're missing a wheel trim. Look at the state of these headlights. Obviously it's absolutely filthy. To be fair to the customers, they did say they'd cleaned it for us the day before, apparently, and they've then been through country lanes and I mean, wow. Yeah, so it doesn't look that great, does it? But I guess the good news is it will clean up nicely, or at least it's going to make a dramatic difference once it is cleaned up. We've got a Nexon on the wheel that's missing a wheel trim. Good news is there's no huge bodywork issues I've spotted so far. Let's have a look. We've got another Nexon on the back, which it's not a huge amount of tread, I'd say probably 6mm maybe. This is going to be one of those cars that's going to be quite satisfying to wash, I think. What have we got in the front? Another Nexon, so maybe we got matching all the way around. That one's probably got a bit more, maybe 7 or so mil tread. Yeah, it just doesn't look very good on the outside, does it? But thought I might have spotted a bit of rust, but no, it's just dirty. Look at the state of it. At least when we clean it up, it'll look good. Get a set of wheel trims on there and maybe some new plates. It should be reasonably presentable. Obviously, we'll have to tidy up the headlights as well. The only real bit of damage I can see is this bit here, but there is a little bit of a dent in there and a little bit of someone's red paint, but that should polish off with a bit of cut. We will get that off. I think I forgot to say that we gave £1,000 for this car in part exchange, which is probably more than I would have liked to have given for it, but it is on the money really. That was the trade value, and it retails at say 2.25 to 2.5, obviously in straight condition, MOT, warranty, all that sort of stuff. So if we spend a little bit of time cleaning it, a little bit of money on some wheel trims, I don't even know if it needs a service or not. I know it's got service history, I know it's got 4 or 5 months MOT. You know, it should be something that'd be fairly decent to shift on. We're not looking to get rich off of this, and if it helped us sell a car that had pretty much 0 inquiries on, you're inclined to offer a little bit more than you might do, just to kind of get that car sold, get another one in. You know, it's all well and good trying to hold out for the best prices you can possibly get, but at the end of the day, if you don't sell cars and recycle the money and buy another one, then, you know, you could make 2 profits at, say, 75% of your potential versus 1 at 100%. The 2 at 75% is obviously going to return you a higher yield. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Maybe I'm saying this and explaining this because I feel slightly embarrassed having paid £1,000 for this car, but it's okay. It's okay. We've got 2 keys, neither of which are really fully intact. Let's check whether we can lock and unlock it. Yes, we can indeed. So that is a bonus. Let's have a quick look inside. Okay, so it is cleaner on the inside than it is on the outside. It still wants cleaning properly because it's quite dusty and hair and things everywhere. Obviously these interiors are quite basic. There's not a huge amount to talk about other than the funky sort of centre dials, which I'm not sure I'm a massive fan of. They're quite retro looking. Let me turn it on and I'll show you those. So you can see we've got this almost like a, as you move the camera, you can see it's got like a hologram effect. It's like, wow, something from the 80s trying to look like it's futuristic, but it's obviously doesn't seem that way at all. But what you should be able to see is that we are on just under 86,000 miles. And we've got half a tank, which is good news. We should try and run this around really for a while and use that. We've got CD radio. We have got air conditioning. What I can't tell you is whether we've got an auxiliary in. We've got the old double glove box, but I don't think there's an auxiliary in this car. It kind of predates that a little bit maybe. Service history wise, we've got the book here. It was obviously sold Somerset County Cars in Taunton, is where it originally came from. So we've got 9 services, the last being done in 2021 on 72,000 miles. So it's definitely due by age and time. Interesting to see that there was one service in here at Barrow Garage, which is the name of the business that was here before I took over, and it became Barrow Motors. So local car, as I say. There's no sign of, in this book anyway, I don't know whether we got it in the separate paperwork, I haven't looked through everything, of a timing belt or chain. Think about it there, this would be a chain, wouldn't it? It'd be a 1.5 petrol timing chain, and I have owned these where there have been issues actually. They run like absolute crap, and its timing's out. Fingers crossed this one's okay, because I imagine the timing chains are probably for the lifetime of the vehicle on these. In fact, let me have a look. Okay, so we are on auto data, and it is timing chain, so there is no interval whatsoever. So this is what we use for pricing up jobs, giving us all the information, technical data on cars and things. Which do have to pay a premium for, but it's very helpful when you run a workshop. So thank you to Joe from the future there, who has just looked on auto data and told us what the interval is. Yeah, I don't know what the result is yet, so I can't really say. Let's have a quick look around the car, have a look in the boot, and then we'll take it out for a spin and see whether we've got a little diamond or a lemon. So as I say, reasonably tidy in the back for, you know, a car of this price range. It's clearly not been professionally valeted, but as you've seen on the channel, most cars usually come to us in a far worse condition than this on the inside. Okay, so the boot got a bit of a, oh, it's not a broken parcel shelf, it's just got a flappy thingy. I would assume in that case then that these seats can move back to this point here, which is why you have the 2-stage sort of parcel shelf, which is still connected, still working, so that's a bonus. Good bit of dog hair on it, but again, I've seen worse. We've got our, I don't know if these are the original tools looking at it, but we've got tools in there. And the second floor, have we got a spare wheel? Yes we do, but I can't see if we've got a jack anywhere. I would hope that's underneath, but I can't say for sure. Let's pop the bonnet and see what that's like. Okay, here we have it, our basic little VVTi engine. Looks like it'd be quite a nice engine to work on because you've got plenty of space around it. Factory's being changed at some point. It's a platinum, that's definitely not the original. Let's check the oil cap quickly. Well, looks okay, no signs of anything obvious there. I've been told not to dip my finger in the oil or the coolant because some people could get contact dermatitis, I think was what I was told by a viewer, which is not something I've ever had a problem with. I'm forever getting dirty hands, but certainly don't want to encourage anyone else to do it. Here is our coolant overflow bowl, which looks okay. Normally I dip my finger in there and see if it comes out looking clean or if there's any signs of oil, but I won't do that. On the whole though, looking tidy. I mean, not clean, but we're not looking oily, gunked up, sooty or anything like that. So it's looking positive so far. I don't want to speak too soon, but if this drives okay, then I think this is going to be a decent little car really, and for very minimal effort we will have a fairly decent return really. So let's take it out for a spin and see what she drives like. Well, so far so good. I don't think we found any real issues with this car. I always like to take them on a test drive like this, trying to go through all the gears, make sure there's no like snagging or horrible noises with the gearbox. The clutch is working okay, the brakes work okay, the steering's fine and it's not tracking and sort of pulling off in one direction or the other, or pulling one way when you accelerate or pulling in a certain way when you brake or anything like that. None of those issues. We're also checking that obviously the engine's running smoothly, no misfires or weird lumpiness or sort of flat spots where you put your foot down and it feels like it's pulling and then it kind of dies off and goes okay again. Checking all the electrical things work. And also it's quite handy that these are quite bumpy roads because we want to check that all the suspension parts and everything sound okay. You know, there's nothing obvious jumping out like a, you know, a worn out drop link or something where it's clonking, clonk, 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 or say when you do heavy turning, especially at low speeds, you're hearing clonk, 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 and almost like a doing, doing. Could be a sign of a broken spring or a damaged top mount. The other thing to listen out for is if you are going over bumps, say on the front, and you'll hear, say as you lift up, or the suspension will be fully extended, you're hearing a donk. Could be that the shock absorber is blown. And again on the back, if you're feeling that the back's kind of bouncing around and feels really vague and just feels bouncy, I guess it's kind of hard to describe, but when you know what it feels like, you know what it feels like. The back will kind of, say you go over a big bump, the back will just maybe the whole car feels like it's swaying across the road where it shouldn't be. Probably got blown shocks on the back as well. So these are all just the sort of things I like to check during a quick test drive, but everything's checking out. It drives fine. It's not very exciting, but it's pretty much got to be like the perfect sort of cheap runaround car, isn't it? This is exactly the sort of car I want for a sort of trade sale type thing. Clean it up, it's going to look okay. It's just a fairly reliable car. There's nothing too spectacular about it, which means there's nothing too spectacular to go wrong, really. If I'm ever looking at buying cars cheaply or part exchanging them and kind of considering what we're going to offer to pay for them, if it ticks a few boxes, then I'm likely to offer a bit more than perhaps what the average trade value might be or someone else might offer. Because if the car's reasonably tidy and presentable, if it's got MOT on it, if it's got service history and one test driving it, it seems mechanically sound, that is an incredibly easy car to sell on, whether it be for a small profit or a reasonable profit. You're just going to be able to move it on quickly, aren't you? So if that means paying an extra 100, 200, whatever for it, even an extra 500 quid, if you know you've got a 500 quid profit in it through minor work, cleaning it and tidying it up and whatever, then why would you not do it? So yeah, something like this, it comes in, if we can offer more and kind of clinch a deal, then I'm happy to offer a little bit more. Let's get it in, let's tidy it up and punt it on, because this little trade car under that sort of £2,000 mark will fly out the door in no time whatsoever, much quicker than the higher value car that you were trying to sell in the first place. I know some garages won't take part exchange whatsoever, and I've never really understood it, because a lot of the time I will make more profit from a part exchange than I will from the car that I've sold to the customer originally. Which sounds odd, and I imagine you're there thinking, well, if that's the case, why don't you just buy cheaper cars and sell those? Well, buying that sort of car sight unseen through auctions or whatever, cheaper end cars, A, is more risky. You're more likely going to buy a lemon. The type of customers that you attract usually aren't the best and are usually more demanding. And as I say, it's just sight unseen. You're not going to get a chance to do it. If you're taking it in part exchange, you get a chance to actually look it over and check whether it's okay. The person usually doesn't really care too much about the value. They obviously want to be treated fairly, but they also just want the convenience of getting rid of it. They don't want to deal with it, you know, selling it privately. They would much rather it just go to the dealer, that's swapped, one car out, another one in, that's that done. They just don't want to do private selling, so they're happy to sort of pay a premium in a sense. They know they're not going to get as much as they would private selling. So that way you get to check the car over, you know that you're getting something half decent in part exchange, and you might, you know, make a decent profit out of it. But if you were to try and buy that same car, like this car for example, to buy this from auction, you probably would get it for this price. Probably the car you would get would have the service history book missing. It would have one key with no remote central locking. The engine would be rattling its head off because the timing chain stretched. And you're on to a complete loss. You'd be throwing good money after bad at that point. So part exchanges are kind of like the backbone of the business sometimes. So why some garages don't accept them, I don't know. Why people think that if you go to, say, We Buy Any Car, for example, you will get a better deal going with just cash to a dealer. You're probably not. if you've got a part exchange, that's an appeal to car dealers. We like to get part exchanges, so we're willing to pay for them as well. It gives us an opportunity for us to be the only bidder on a car rather than competing against other dealers. So yeah, I'd always keep that in mind when it comes to doing the whole we buy any car and going to look for a car with just cash. I don't think it necessarily works in your favour that way. So I'm fairly happy with this car. Seems pretty decent. We will put it on the ramp and have a quick check over because we're going to have to service it anyway. But in the meantime, for this video, I think we should clean it up, get some wheel trims on it, show you what the car's kind of going to look like, and we'll probably ship it off out to storage until we're ready to sell it and service it. So let's get it cleaned up. Okay, so that's the Yaris quickly tidied up. Let's have a little walk around and have a look at it. So the first thing that probably jumps out is got some new wheel trims, and I also just chucked some black around the steel wheels before putting those on. I recommend doing that. It just makes it look better than otherwise you put something like this on and you've got the sort of brown or the rust behind. It's not a, you know, forever fix, but it's going to make it look better for now. Roadmaster spent half an hour or so just giving these a quick flat back and then polished them up. Headlights looking loads better. Obviously given the whole thing just a good clean. Bit of tyre shine on there. We've still got to service this car obviously, but we won't do that today. The little ding that was in the door that had all the red paint in, if you remember, that's all been just polished out quickly. And now it looks $1 million, right? Well, I don't know about $1 million, but oh, and I nearly forgot. New set of number plates as well, which I think just freshens the whole thing up. One on the back as well, just makes it look a lot neater. And I don't even know if you can see from there, but there are the little touch-ups that you saw me do as well, with a little bit of silver just sprayed into the lid of a spray can and touched in with a Q-tip. It just, again, these aren't perfect fixes, but it's just tidying it up for a little trade car. So let's say all in it's going to owe me 1,100 quid. Say we spend 100 quid on a service, some wheel trims and a fresh set of number plates. I think that's easily £2,000, if not more, 250 of someone's money. I certainly hope so. So I'm gonna take it down to our trade site and we'll sell it from there. Yeah, I think it's a decent enough little car. We'll just get the service sorted and then off she goes. Anyway, just a little quick video just to show you the car we've brought in, show you how quickly you can just sort of tidy something up and make it look an awful lot better than it did when it came in. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do leave it a like if you have. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not, thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video.